Yo, what up, mother pluckers?
Back.
It's hot in here.
What up, baby?
We're heating up.
You know who it is?
He's
The
a
Night
Godzilla
Trap Podcast with all your favorite fucking fiends in here.
No vomitorium today?
What's that, man?
No vomitorium today?
No, the living dead has been put back to rest. So, we're going to come through a very special episode just because we have one of our mainstays, one of our left legs. You have one of the main anchors to the business right here. He's going to get a very major contract out in Chicago.
Oh.
So we want to do something that's near and dear to me and his heart. We've been talking about doing this for a minute, and we want to just get right into it, baby. This is a Night Trap Podcast discussion of Godzilla. And you know how we love Big G himself, baby. So
let me get the other one. Keep talking.
As you know, we're inundated by it. Godzilla's one of the originators. He's one of the inspiration for a lot of people's crossover to Japanese culture. A lot of people were.
It's basically a bridge.
Absolutely.
That's what it is. Godzilla became a bridge. So
here it is.
That's one of the earliest things that I remember as a child.
Absolutely.
When it comes to going to all the Japanese culture.
He's the original vomitorium.
He's the original.
Yeah,
vomitorium.
literally.
Well,
but yeah, it's a bridge. That's for me. That's what Godzilla is. It's a bridge between two cultures.
And you know,
everybody's burping and it fucking smells.
Well, it's Godzilla, baby. It's Godzilla.
It's a Godzilla bridge.
So let's get right into it because we got a lot of ground to cover. I thought we were gonna do like a 3-part miniseries, but this man's gotta leave, so we don't wanna. We gotta shove a lot of information in.
It's too much. First of all, it's too much. Second of all, more movies are coming out.
Yeah.
Like in the future.
Yeah.
So this is not the end of Godzilla.
Yeah, we'll have material to fucking die.
And then we can have him on Skype too and shit.
We'll have him on Skype. We'll have him on Twitter. We'll have his astral projection sitting here. Hopefully.
He'll be sending me texts and it's like.
So, getting into Godzilla initially, and we're doing this.
Well, this is a creep.
This Sucio, aka Cerberus, aka everybody's ex-boyfriend.
Dr. Porn.
It is the Night Trap Podcast. Once again, Godzilla retrospective. We're coming in with some love, like I said.
And this is Godzilla.
That's the big G himself. That's Meltdown Godzilla. So, we're doing this to hopefully get people. People ask me, Sucio, where do I start? Where do I start with my kids? Where do I show my kids Godzilla movies? What are the best ones? What are the worst ones? What are this? So we're just gonna dive right into it.
That's the thing, man. It depends on your kid.
It does depend on your kid. A lot of people's kids know Godzilla because of the new stuff, and I'm thankful for them. You go back into the original one, it's the Toho era. We're gonna go back to 1954, all the way beginning to Gojira, which
that's a Showa era.
The Showa era, which is really the original movie is a war allegory of World War II and the repercussions of nuclear war. Now, the reason why that movie hit home to so many people, especially at that time, you're talking about 1954,
especially the Japanese.
53. People still remembered that.
Yeah,
people were still dying of cancer.
People who survived the World War II, especially the Hiroshima bombing, they were still alive. So for them, it just hit right on the dot.
So you take the original movie and you look at it and you say, this is filmed in two ways, because this is before giant monster movies took over the cinema. This is before them and Ants and all these other big giant monster movies.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think it created like a different kind of cinema there, because you have your live action, which is basically your people, everything the right scale where it is, and then you have this guy dressed as Godzilla in a fucking little town that they built. So they started combining all that and making it seem like it was just
with the
one shot.
350-pound fucking suit that was made of recycled
he fainted.
Asbestos.
He fainted like a couple of times.
Couple? Probably fainted shitload of
times. I'm sure that man was.
There's pictures of how was his name?
It was like sweating his ass off and shit.
So, but the original Godzilla was filmed to be very war documentary looking. Now you get, the
well, that's an important movie in Japanese culture.
Absolutely, it represents a humanistic view of the other side. And I think this is the beginning of Godzilla really representing something in the lexicon, which was giving the Japanese people a response to American propaganda. You know, we still had a lot of negative stereotypes, and Godzilla came through and showed you the ravages of war. It showed you a creature that was dying, because that's what happened with Godzilla. Godzilla was hit by an atomic bomb and mutated. So essentially, the first Godzilla was this gigantic mass of cancer that was suffering and dying, and it was going through the city in its
just
death
ravaging
throes.
Everything, so it's pain basically.
Yeah,
like
it was.
portraying there.
It
His
was
pain.
suffering. So you have this monster that's not a complete villain. You have a monster that's just a poor creature that's a victim of something, which was an overall representation of the Japanese culture.
With the force of nature, because like my daughter asks me all the time, "Is Godzilla good or bad?" I was like, "Well, it's not good or bad."
Yeah.
Well, I mean, depends on the movie after,
Yeah.
but.
For example, on this one, on the first one, on Gojira, then he is bad because he's there destroying everything. So
Yeah, but he's
supposed
not
to-
doing it just to kill.
No, he's not doing it just for fun or anything. He has a purpose of it. He's just showing his pain through.
But it's
his
exactly,
form.
it's like saying that a tornado is a bad
Yeah.
thing. Like, oh, it's a bad thing.
It's an uncontrollable thing.
Yeah, it's basically a force of nature.
Now,
That's what it is.
as much as we could all wax poetic about this first movie, and really we want to get into the other stuff to talk about our favorites, to talk about the worst ones, let's just end to talk about Godzilla about this. We talk about the character Shiwazawa accepting responsibility for creation of a new weapon that was going to be more powerful than an atomic bomb, and he took that weapon to the grave with him and sacrificed himself once again in a very traditional Japanese mindset that came out of a very regal
those
time.
Sacrifices.
You know-
was a big. I think it was on which era was it? Samurai, so the beginning of Samurai.
The Edo era.
Yeah, the Edo era.
So you have a movie that's beyond not just Japanese in culture, but a representation of who they are
How they were raised, how they were
As a
still
people.
think like that.
through a monster movie, created by Ishiro Honda. Shout out Ishiro Honda. It was being filmed on the same set as Seven Samurai. So you had Kurosawa coming over and having discussions with this man about how the monster should walk. So you have very central, important influences on this movie to make it into a timeless masterpiece that it is now. You could watch this black and white Godzilla movie, and although it feels dated with kind of like this weird stop motion creature, it's still impactful. It still has the same formula that all Godzilla movies have.
I don't think it's as dated though as like the 80s and the other
Yeah,
ones.
the 80s. Yeah, the 80s will feel more dated because they're just
No,
kind
and-
of goofy.
And because black and white looks pretty clear.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Looks
so-
pretty clear.
So okay, Godzilla. The first Godzilla dies. Spoiler. Fucking dies. The first Godzilla is dead. Shirozawa sacrifices himself to the oxygen destroyer. This is an important moment in the Godzilla series because it creates multiple things. It creates bad guys later on, and it creates this idea that
Yeah, basically
human beings
for-
have to step up and accept their responsibility
Yeah,
for
but
the things they
also
do.
creates the fact that destroying something that we created with nuclear bombs, we created something even worse coming up with a completely make-believe bomb.
Yeah.
As far as we know, we don't know. We
Well,
have it.
Godzilla was he was like this serious movie, like
It was.
he was supposed to be this thing, and then after the first movie, it was all for kids.
Well,
Well, not all of them. There's a few in that era. Like, for example, let's see. We get the.
so we jump right into Godzilla Raids Again, aka Godzilla vs. Anguirus,
But they weren't as serious as that first one.
which
Yeah,
was.
the first one is.
The first one's pretty serious.
Yeah.
So if we take the series in the beginning, right?
Actually, in the first one, I believe there's like no jokes. For
There
except-
is no jokes. You're
Well,
right.
on the Showa era, if you get Godzilla Raids Against, Mothra vs. Godzilla, and Destroy All Monsters, and the Terror Mecha Godzilla, they're the serious ones from that era,
Well, like
which is 54 to 75.
we're not gonna talk about like all of them,
Well,
right? But
We're gonna go to the ones that I would say
I'm gonna
were
say
more
that
impactful for era.
these are the most important ones of the series, at least the beginning of the series, and then we'll touch the later ones if so you could get something in the new ones.
me and Dr. Porn saw a fucking where they talk about all of them with Angry Video Game Nerd.
Yeah, and he's way into it.
Yeah,
Those details that we might even miss.
it's like a 2-hour video, but he talks about each and every one of them. So if you want to go see that, like,
yeah, we'll put a link for him.
And he makes fun of a lot of stuff. He loves Godzilla, but there's a lot of stuff that's like super ridiculous. But if you want to see that, go to Cinemassacre, and just put like Godzilla, like retrospective or whatever.
Yeah. So you take the Godzilla universe, right? And you start off Godzilla raids again, and then it goes right into Godzilla versus King Kong, where he got jobbed.
Yeah, that thing is
into a loss with King Kong, who was an American,
who is a much smaller creature
That's the first crossover. Now.
That is the first crossover.
But here's the thing: originally, it wasn't gonna be King Kong. It was gonna be a Frankenstein, a gigantic version of him. That's why if you see that
would have been cool.
That silly dumb movie. You'll see that King Kong gets killed by Godzilla and revive a fucking electricity.
Yeah.
So that it has still those elements from
they
monster, the Dark Universe.
It should have been versus the Invisible Man.
That
if they didn't have to use anybody, it's just like
She lit up bandages.
So at this point in time, you have another important movie that comes out, which is Rodan. Now Rodan in the kaiju cinema is one of the top of the pops, just because it's more of a disaster film and it has the formula for all disaster films that we still make today, whether it's Day and Tomorrow or whatever, fucking Poseidon's Adventure, whatever summer blockbuster. If you go back and watch Rodan, you are gonna essentially watch every single disaster movie all the way from then to now. Yeah. Now, Godzilla was jobbed in the beginning. Godzilla was a bad guy. He was sold out. He fought Mothra, he fought King Kong, he lost both of them, and then we get into Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, aka the Astro Monster, aka Invasion of Monster Zero, and that's when Godzilla does become a good guy. Him and Rodan team up, they get sent to Mars, and obviously he does a happy moment.
That's when it comes the Godzilla dance.
This is the beginning of Friend Godzilla, protector of little kids and happiness and all that
took
stuff.
about 5 movies.
Should
we get a good Godzilla?
Yeah. Well, that's one of my favorites. We're gonna touch that one right now, baby.
Because on the second one, he fights actually what was it?
I have to do it because I can't use footage.
We get his sidekick.
No using a footage though. I'll recreate.
So you have Godzilla in the beginning. If you're gonna watch Godzilla, you obviously watch the first one. This is gonna be too serious for kids. Now then, you're gonna jump right into Godzilla or Invasion of the Astro Monster, which is the first time Godzilla and Rodan come out. Yeah. You got to team up. You have hilarious moments, and then you have
Rodan had his own. He had his own movie,
right? He had the one movie, and that was, like I said, the principle of all disaster movies are based on that Rodan movie. So right after Invasion of Monster Zero, everybody has to watch that. If you're gonna start with Godzilla, you start with that. Even if your kids are too young or whatever, it's gonna be stupid.
No, well, I think that if you're gonna show your kids Godzilla movies, they should start early. Because if you wait till they're like fucking preteens or teenagers, they're just gonna say like, this is fucking retarded.
Yeah.
But as a little kid, you're gonna be gravitated towards the mono too. I'm like, oh yeah, Godzilla.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, start them as little kids, because like if you go too far, it's like showing a teenager Power Rangers right now. Yeah. They'll be like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is crap. But if they saw it when they were kids, when they grow up, they're gonna be like, oh, that used to be awesome.
Yeah. So then the next one into this is Ibra, Horror of the Deep, which is aka Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, which is aka Godzilla versus the lobster. And it was supposed to be King Kong.
Rock Lobster.
This was supposed to be King Kong, but instead they gave King Kong his own movie. They gave King Kong versus Mecha King Kong. Now, if anybody wants to tell you that Godzilla did Mecha Godzilla first, they're actually wrong.
No, it's King Kong.
It was King Kong, and that's actually a pretty interesting series. And this is where the beginning of Godzilla being the good guy, always fighting aliens, always defending the Earth. So right after that, you get Son of Godzilla, which is probably one of the stupidest and most ridiculous ones of all
the
time.
fucking bad guy there is a
Gotsuki
Mantis. Now you get Gotsuki. Well, it's called Gotsuki. There's
no, they didn't put a name.
Minya,
Gotsuki.
No, he didn't have a name. He was just little Godzilla.
He was Son of Godzilla.
Yeah,
Godzilla Jr.
But it was Minya and then Gotsuki.
And he had a
Western version.
He had a unitard, like fucking Donkey Kong.
So we're gonna skip fucking Son of Godzilla. Although you could probably show your kids that and it's gonna be ridiculous because it has really funny moments.
Well, it has
Island Girls.
It has a little boy with going with Godzooky or whatever, and then it has Godzilla.
Wait. That's right after. That's all Monsters Attack. So let's clear this up. Son of Godzilla is different from all Monsters Attack. Son of Godzilla is a story about a science expedition that gets stuck on Monster Island, and the only way they can get off of it is if they create some artificial weather. Now, all Monsters Attack is the story of a little Japanese boy who's being bullied, and he uses his imagination to go with the Son of Godzilla and have little fun adventures. It's all stock footage, though.
Because if you see that movie,
it's a recap.
Son of Godzilla gets smaller when he's with the kid.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when he's fighting, he's fucking bigger.
And then he
Godzilla
fights
treats him like
Bambu.
shit.
Yeah.
And Godzilla's the worst father ever.
Also that movie shows like Godzilla going like, I'm fucking up with like with dad, so it starts getting like even better, but till the end.
Starts playing
It's,
child support.
it's very interesting, the Son of Godzilla's area, which is, they show Godzilla like sleeping, and little Godzilla Jr.'s running around like falling down. He's like, yo, get the fuck out of here. Like,
leave me alone.
They're very real moments where it's a father-son where it's like, okay, I gotta teach you how to
It's a
fight
lot of those
now.
moments where like,
So,
I just get out of work.
God damn it.
stuck in between these is Destroy All Monsters, which is the next movie we should all watch. If you're gonna start somewhere, you gotta watch Destroy All Monsters. Is essentially all the monsters come out and
all the
fight.
monsters so far.
So far up to that point, this is
That's
a
a
movie
Royal
night.
Rumble. That's a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it is. It's basically almost a battle royale.
Yeah. All the monsters are telepathically controlled by aliens.
Yeah, and this is the second time that Anguirus comes out.
This is the second time Anguirus comes out.
Godzilla's
This is-
sidekick, we could call it.
This is when King Ghidorah officially becomes the bad guy of all the bad guys and gets beat up by everybody and their mom.
That's when they show like how powerful Monster Zero is.
Exactly. So, he holds his own against 20 monsters, so you can't say nothing wrong with that. So we're going to go next one. Godzilla versus Ghidorah, aka the Smog Monster. Now, I personally want to touch on this and the next few ones, which are my favorite of this era. Now, the Smog Monster, for whatever it is, has a different director, has a different creative team, has a different take on it. Now,
this is Yoshimutsu then.
the
I
score,
don't know how to spell it.
the effects, the way it looks, the actual story that it's about pollution and
It
climate
touches
change.
pollution and climate change,
Mhm.
but also like kind of reminiscence of the first Godzilla in '54, because it's also a byproduct
That's
of
exactly.
Godzilla's destruction.
Exactly. So you're having
mixed with the
a
pollution.
political idea, or not a casual idea.
So they're trying to bring it back to the series.
There is
Yeah.
a very serious
They brought
nature.
it back to seriousness and
But-
also touching subjects that we're still touching right now.
Yeah, and within the same movie, they have Godzilla flying on his own fireball, like he's like rolled up in a nautical little thing. So you have ridiculous moments attached to some of the more serious ones. Now, right after that, we get Godzilla versus Gigan, Megalon, which are two movies that should
No,
be
that's
attached
actually
to.
Gigan.
Well,
Megalon comes after.
Well, the reason I throw these two together, now you don't have to watch Gigan, but I recommend you watch Megalon. Now, Gigan is the beginning of Godzilla having the simplest of formula, where it's like human beings fighting aliens and trying to help Godzilla and his allies.
Yeah, because Gigan's like a cyborg.
He's a cyborg that gets summoned, and stupid fucking Ghidorah gets summoned, and
The
then
one
they
with
have
Cyclops eyes?
Yeah, that's the one.
one of the
That's
best.
cool sunglasses.
Yeah.
So, Godzilla vs. Gigan is one of the best and bloodiest in the original series.
Oh,
In
he
the
looks like...
Yeah, this is where Godzilla almost like gets fucking
he gets
just torn apart, and he keeps bleeding like a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Absolutely. So it's one of the most
Well,
ridiculous.
doesn't he have like fucking like saws and shit?
Well,
Guy-
his arms or hands.
He's got a
he
giant
has
saw in
those-
his
Yeah, he has a saw.
He
Yeah.
has a giant spike to his hands,
Yeah.
and then one on the head, and the laser beams from the eye.
So at this point, the aliens are giant cockroaches, and these guys influence the next movie, which is Godzilla versus Megalon, the giant cockroach, aka Godzilla versus the Atlanteans, who are also giant cockroaches. Now,
This is where Godzilla gets some help, right?
this is where Godzilla gets
Jet Jaguar.
Jet Jaguar, one of the one-time allies. Now, Godzilla has a long history of one-time allies. Jet Jaguar is one of the best ones because he's a sentient robot that was created by a contest.
Which is the one that like fucking looks like the
He
guy.
looks like the atomic guy over there.
Yeah.
So Jet Jaguar was created as a contest that little kids sent in an idea for a Godzilla monster, and it would come out in a movie and part of a dealership. And for some reason, they decided, okay, that's a cool looking monster. Let's actually fucking make him into the movie.
Yeah.
So congratulations to that little kid. You got the most little kid childhood dream of all time, that your creation came out in an actual Godzilla.
Bankrupt.
And now he's dead. So
Now he's dead. How do you know?
but so
I
Godzilla,
saw his body.
I killed him.
You murdered him. So if you're gonna watch Godzilla movies, you're gonna watch at least the beginning of it. You're gonna watch Godzilla vs. Invasion of the Astro Monster. You're gonna watch Destroy All Monsters, and then you're gonna watch Megalon, because it's the most stupidest of fights. You got the most ridiculous, and as he was doing right now with the little giant, the flying tail kick.
Yeah, that's where you get it for the first time.
Some of the most stupidest, ridiculous fights. I mean,
well, that's a drop kick supposedly. But
Yeah, but what, like 5
flying
kilometers
drop
long?
yeah. It's 10 miles. Oh yeah, walk 80 miles that way, and then I'll fucking come running
Yeah.
at you.
So when these movies were being watched barely by him, because he was a fan of it when we were kids.
Mhm.
We all used to make fun of him because they're so shitty, dude. And
Yeah, it's so
and because we were kids and we were like, the fuck? And he used to get all mad and shit. He's like, no, like I love these movies. And we're like, they look stupid.
So
Dude, I even had the knockoff Godzilla.
I mean, we were the ones that were into like Freddy Krueger
They're
and
more
shit.
more
He
than
was,
good.
he was the one that was into Godzilla.
I thought you were gonna bring your badass fucking Godzilla
That's
thing.
already
Ah!
it's already in storage.
Anyways, so Godzilla versus Megalon. I just want to finish up on this. A nice gay couple adopts a little boy, and it has one of the funnest soundtracks. It has some of the stupidest fights, and you go straight into Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, which
Now
is
here, those are Creep's favorite. The Mecha Godzilla movies.
No, but
No,
not that one.
no, you get from what there?
No, the one that's the best one for Mechagodzilla is
The second gen.
No, Godzilla. What's it called?
okay. Well, Jeff,
SOS.
Yeah, that's actually the third gen.
Yeah, but that's the one I like the most with
And-
Mechagodzilla.
we will definitely jump into that one. We just want to touch on Mechagodzilla and Terror of Mechagodzilla.
But Mechagodzilla.
Which is back to back Mecha Godzilla movies.
Well, that's why I want to. Nah, we'll get into this.
Some of the so
Pass me a monster, Godzilla.
And that's where we get the
No,
third
no.
time we get on Geras
The
now.
white one. White.
so
Right there on the door.
So, do not watch Terror of Mechagodzilla. It is one of the shittiest of the whole entire series, and actually bankrupted the series itself and put
Oh.
Godzilla into hibernation.
By the way, don't mess with Toho, because they'll fucking shut you down,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. Anyways,
They're one of the worst fucking companies, dude, for real.
Which is, on Terra Mecha Godzilla, there's 2 monsters. Well, Godzilla's one, and then
is
we have
Titanosaurus.
Titanosaurus, yeah.
Titanosaurus.
Which is kind of like the Japanese version for the Loch Ness monster.
Well,
yeah. No,
Mechagodzilla-
Nessie.
Yeah.
Mechagodzilla was created to fucking fight Godzilla
Yeah.
specifically.
So you go Mechagodzilla, some of the craziest battles. The whole entire movie, Godzilla's getting messed up.
Well,
in
Mechagodzilla is like way overpowered.
Yeah, absolutely. They even have a legendary creature that's supposed to defend Japan from it, and he gets slapped around. aka King Caesar, one of the one shot,
shittiest characters.
one of the one shot anime that doesn't do anything.
If your name is Caesar, fuck
Sorry,
you.
bro, you suck, dude. But
You suck.
the one true thing about Terror of Mechagodzilla is that it goes back to the beginning, and it talks about the sacrifice of science, the sacrifice of people trying to do good, and it being corrupted by bad people. You know, people who try to make the Mechagodzilla again, people who are controlling Titanosaurus, a man.
Does that movie have a good ending? I don't even know.
No, it just
that
it just ends.
doesn't have a
Godzilla,
good
Godzilla
ending.
just leaves into the thing, and people
Defeat
were
it, man.
people were definitely angry at the way it ended because Mechagodzilla was so good. Mechagodzilla beat up Anguirus. You had the addition of a new character, and Godzilla became a gigantic. He powered up. So this is the beginning of Godzilla being Goku, and we were talking about this yesterday, where it's like, why does somebody always have to level up? Godzilla is the original character that
That's
always
origin-
levels up
No,
every
For
time.
the ones who are not familiar with Godzilla, he's like the it's the one that helped out create a lot of fucking anime.
Yeah,
Especially Dragon Ball with all the power.
Kai- Kaikaiers.
Mechagodzilla was like fucking Cell, dude. Like, it's just like.
That's what he was.
This fucking android that's.
Absolutely.
fucking has,
He was the
like, way too
complete
much
answer
shit.
to Godzilla. So much so that Godzilla got destroyed multiple times in that fight, and instead he came back every time he had a response. This man was flying, and
there's always a next level for that Saiyan level.
So obviously the series stagnated, and it was gone for what, 6, 7, 8 years?
It was gone from 75 and then came back in 84.
So you have 9 years without a Godzilla movie, which was unheard of in Japan.
That's where we end.
Well, but it was because it was going downhill.
It was.
So people grow tired of the same old shit.
And the kids that they tried to introduce Godzilla in the 60s had already grown up.
So
They're
how many
in their 20s.
How many years have passed from the last movie to the next one?
It's 20 years. The original, and it was 9 years.
It was 9 years.
So look, the people that were like fucking, let's say 11 years old, already 9 years older, like they'll be like, holy shit, like this is coming back. So for them, it'd be like, I want to go see the new stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's why they waited so long. Because people were just fucking tired of seeing a Godzilla movie like every 2 years.
It's like every other movie. Like that's why we keep getting remakes.
That's why I get tired though. Like if it's fucking.
But
if it goes too long, yeah.
When they rebranded this series, right? Mm-hmm. They went in with the idea, and the idea was very simple. Godzilla's gonna be the bad guy. That's what the Hearsay era was about. 84 to 95. You're talking about these movies were not released in the States until way later.
Yeah, they were released fucking 9?
So let me tell you something. When I initially came into this program, this man invited me. We have no thing. I try not to even talk to these men outside of this because I try to save it for the actual show. Now, one of the first things me and this man connected on was Godzilla, and specifically the Hearsay era Godzilla, because people did not know what these movies were because they weren't released over here.
Yeah.
So you had Godzilla came back, Raymond Burr came back. Now, Godzilla had a history of Americanizations, where they made American versions of Godzilla movies, saying, "Oh well, the first movie, 1954, was remade with Raymond Burr, talking about how, oh well, the Americans really should see this." They tried to make it a sentimental thing of America to not make it look like a bad guy.
And they fucking screwed it up.
And they fucked it up completely. Do not watch the Americanized version.
That's what I was really glad about getting the original VHS with the Japanese translation.
Yeah.
For the 1954, because when then I saw the American version, I'm like, this is bullshit. And I was already a teenager when I saw the American version.
I think that that remake or whatever, that retelling or whatever, I think it's good. I mean, the only thing that it's doing is putting in.
It's whitewash.
No, but it's only putting Raymond Burr to fucking
explain.
But it's like
explain
whatever.
the reasons.
Because we don't want to read subtitles, and Parasite should win the Academy Award 2020. Talk about it right now.
But like, check it out. Look, like
Parasite's amazing.
Like me, like people like me, dude.
amazing.
I can't fucking read subtitles.
Absolutely, understandable.
Well, you literally can.
Like, that's
That's
exactly
different, but back then you could.
But
no,
okay,
I can't. Like, there's no fucking way I can read the subtitles. Like, there's. Like, my fucking vision, I go way too slow. It would have to be, like, pausing and shit. Like, it sucks. Like, every time that, like, I'm watching a movie that has, like, parts with subtitles, my wife has to read them to me. And that fucking sucks. So, to me, like, I watched the original Godzilla, but watching, like, that other one that's Americanized or whatever, that's not bad for me. That's like, I'm like...
Yeah, to each his own.
So, a very positive opinion on dubs and subs. But Raymond Burr comes back for the 1984 Return of Godzilla, where they're trying to make him into a bad guy, and it's Raymond Burr essentially again talking about how devastating this is.
Well, he just narrates, and then there's like little pieces of where
he's in there.
I remember how this was back in the day, and him and Godzilla have this thing. So this Godzilla doesn't have any other monsters. It doesn't have any.
It's the original. Just basically, like you said, just like narrated, and there's little explanations here and there.
No, I'm talking about 1984.
You're to the other one.
I'm talking about Raymond Burr does come back, and he starts narrating this, and he says, "Oh, he's a Godzilla expert at this point. He survived
He's an expert.
He survived the Godzilla
survived the
cataclysm." So everybody's like, "Oh shit, we can't believe this." Now he spends this whole movie trying to do the same effect that they tried to do in the original Godzilla, which was highlighting the pain of people and how shady this is. Now, you kind of don't really gotta watch this remake we get into the next versions of Godzilla, which is some of the most interesting.
Well, they probably did this shit because it was like 9 years later,
and because they wanted to make a
maybe like not
Yeah.
to us or whatever, but we were like, oh, we just watched all of a sudden like a bunch of them just in a row, or like. I don't know, like, but maybe at those times it was different, you know. Like,
well, Godzilla does become a force of nature in the next one and the one after, which is Biollante.
Well, the first one from the Heisei era was Return of Godzilla, followed by Godzilla the next year, which is 85.
Yeah.
And then we get
they
Biollante,
called
which is the
Godzilla
third one.
85.
Yeah,
So Biollante is one of the strangest.
but that's one of my favorites.
It's one of the
It is
strangest.
my favorite from the Heisei era.
Well, okay, tell the people why,
Well,
please tell
For
them.
me, it's one of my favorites because Biollante.
It's a Mega Man fucking.
It looks like a Mega Man evil guy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: the reason I like it is because they make a monster way bigger than Godzilla.
Absolutely.
It looks so imposing.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
Godzilla looks small against it, and also the way it was created, same as fucking.
The effects were beautiful.
Yeah,
Live
that's
action
when they
puppetry.
changed. They came
Well,
up
'cause
with
it
a
was
lot of
80s,
more
like-
effects. Yeah, it was.
It was so practical
It
effects.
was 89, so it was practical effects, but it were so carefully done. And here's the thing: that the way Biollante comes out, it's the same way as Godzilla was created, and the smog monster was created as well.
So he's
So-
Cell. He's the actual Cell.
Yeah,
He's the
he's
actual
more
Cell.
like Cell, but here's the
Because-
thing: instead of being a byproduct of a contamination, it's a byproduct of the plants being contaminated now. So we got like two fucking little things going on. Plus, also, it's a bunch of dead cells from Godzilla that
And-
were absorbed.
So everything that happens in Biollante leads up to the death of Godzilla.
Yeah.
So the next one is
It
gonna
was
be,
like the death of Superman.
it was so in the 90s you had giant characters who were dying. Godzilla and Superman both died in the same year, which was 96.
96?
Yeah, it's 96. 95, I'm sorry, it's 95. Godzilla versus Destroyer. So you have, in the next 4 chapters, you have 3 things that happen. There's a time travel situation where people go back in time and make King Ghidorah.
It's 5 chapters. We got King Ghidorah, Mothra.
I don't count Space Godzilla because Space Godzilla is terrible, and as much as we
It's
love
still part of it, man.
it's terrible. So okay,
Move on. We'll talk about the worst and best.
there's a time travel situation. Space Godzilla comes back, aka Biollante comes back, and see Mothra because of what happened in Godzilla versus Mothra. Mothra has to leave Earth and go stop a meteor that's gonna hit Earth that was supposed to be stopped by Batra, who was killed by Godzilla. And without Mothra
But
here,
for those who don't know, who's Mothra?
Batra is essentially the evil version of Mothra, but
But it's also the male version.
it's the yin and yang of Mothra. So Godzilla kills Batra, and Mothra has to take Batra's quest, which is to stop this giant meteor from hitting Earth and destroying Earth. Now, without Mothra here on Earth, Godzilla is left unchecked. And Godzilla left unchecked leads to them making Mega Godzilla, them making Mecha Ghidorah, and Space Godzilla returning
Yeah.
because Space Godzilla gets summoned back through Mothra's wings because of some sort of particles on the wings.
Well, and Mothra has its own movies too.
Oh yeah, that's a difference.
Those 3 Mothra movies are great. I do recommend those 3 Mothra movies from the 90s. They do kind of add a little bit to the Godzilla, the Godzilla universe. You don't have to though.
They sell a Blu-ray at Walmart with the.
Yeah, with the 3 of them.
So, we get into Space Godzilla, right? A completely overpowered character.
Yeah, it is way overpowered.
I mean, you're talking about it's Biollante comes back, a mutated version of Biollante that went through a black hole, got spit out the other side, and became Ultimate Godzilla, is what it is.
Yeah.
Came back, wanted to become the son of Godzilla's
yeah.
mom or something. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
it was such
'cause
a strange story.
It's a strange story. It doesn't have it's not a fucking story, basically. if you pay attention to everything they say and try to do, it's like, this is getting fucking confusing.
It's a Ninja Turtle plot point.
Yeah, that's what it is. It just goes all the way around the fucking plot, all around the map, and nothing comes.
It's
down
essentially
to
an excuse for Godzilla to get beat up for
really beat up.
45 minutes.
Again.
I mean, Minya gets kidnapped. Giant crystals go flying everywhere. It's insane. The putazos that they give Godzilla here is terrible.
And then when you finally think the fucking Space Godzilla is dead, no. Fucking thing powers up because there's a bunch of crystals.
And then there's some other shit. So, Space Godzilla gets rid of, right? Where we're left in the series is Godzilla versus Destroyer.
Now, this is one of a lot of fans' favorite.
Now, Godzilla versus Destroyer is...
Destroyer!
Godzilla melting down finally after dozens of battles, because this is the evil Godzilla, and this isn't the Godzilla that fought King Ghidorah and all this and wasted all his energy trying to save the Earth. But this is the Godzilla that's going around stomping on radioactive nuclear sites and exposing himself to all this extra shit, and he's about to explode. Now
here's where we also get a different look on the Godzilla mask. That's when they change it, like the snout, called like that. It's longer and it has like a kind of like a dog shape.
I think it's believed to be called either the alligator Godzilla or the fucking Tyrannosaurus Godzilla.
No, that's the alligator. The previous one was the Tyrannosaurus.
So, in Godzilla vs. Destroyer, the cells that survived the original Oxygen Destroyer, the first Godzilla,
that's
right?
1954.
Those cells who survived the Oxygen Destroyer, a thing that completely destroys anything that has oxygen and tears apart its molecules, comes back to life as its own separate creature, aka Ultimate Godzilla. And Destroyer goes around and fucks everybody up. Now, this has some of the saddest fights. I mean, you're talking about the son of Godzilla who's a baby. He gets destroyed in this thing, and you feel so sad. Rodan gets destroyed, and we see the first semblance of Fire Rodan powering up Godzilla. You have all these things that are used in the Legendary series now and stuff in the future now. Now
that's where we get all the new ones with the Legendary. Like Rodan wasn't always a fire one.
He was not.
Yeah.
Rodan was considered wind, and Mata was considered water, and whatever.
Yep.
So anyways, so the death of Godzilla was supposed to lead off to two things. Godzilla Jr. absorbing. Now, people still are contentious about this, and people say, oh, well, baby Godzilla died, or baby Godzilla absorbed the nuclear explosion, the meltdown of Godzilla, and became the new Godzilla.
Let's emphasize, he absorbed the evil Godzilla.
He absorbed the evil Godzilla's powers.
And this is also where we get Godzilla's own different look.
It's
just a smaller version of it. He doesn't look funny or goofy or anything.
He just looks like a monster.
Yeah.
But, so you have this thing where the next series, the next generation.
That's where we end the Heisei era, and we go with the Millennium era, which is 1999 to 2004.
So this is Godzilla as a neutral party.
1998, the Godzilla.
We don't even
American
count that,
Godzilla.
homie.
That one.
Matthew Broderick. Okay, we're gonna talk about it.
I'm glad. We'll talk about it by the end of the Millennium.
Don't be changing eras without mentioning 1998.
No. We're gonna leave it for the last of the
Puff Daddy,
era.
bro. Puff Daddy and Led Zeppelin, man.
Come with me, baby.
Come on, man. Two legends come together
And that's where their career
to create the ultimate soundtrack.
That's why one fucking career went.
But I'll tell you something about.
You know you loved it when you saw it the first time.
The Godzilla 1998 had some of the best merchandising ever.
I think it had I think it had a good cartoon.
Yeah, the cartoon.
The cartoon Monster Wars is fantastic.
No, the
Godzilla
cartoon, the American version.
The Godzilla Wars. It was called something Wars.
It was the one for the movie. It was that Godzilla.
It was the one that Godzilla was brown.
It was that Godzilla. It was that fucking Godzilla. The Matthew Broderick.
It came out on Fox, right?
Yeah, it's basically the little one that survived the end of that movie. Remember?
Yeah.
So that's first before 1999, please.
Yeah,
so please watch that. That's a really good one.
Alright, so then we can move on and we'll talk about those later.
Anyway, just another, the last little bit of shout out to these ones. Trendmasters had some of the best Godzilla toys of all time, personally. I grew up collecting those. If you find Trendmaster Godzillas from 94 to 95, save those, please, because everybody played with them and everybody opened them up, and they were so intricate. The sculpting was beautiful. They had these Mighty Max little heads that had little Godzilla, and you made little play sets out of like New York and whatever. Fantastic, some of the best. Now, also the Super Nintendo game
No, that's just fun.
for this. It was terrible. It was
Yeah.
like a chess game, right? It was like it
No,
was like a chess game.
No, that
It was
wasn't
more
like
like
a
a
chess.
strategic
The
game.
one that was the one where you saw just Godzilla walking around and like it's fucking.
It was that one was one of the
But
stupid.
we'll talk about it later too.
Okay, we want to do that one
We're
later.
not gonna talk about the video game.
So we're gonna get straight
To
into
99, which is Godzilla 2000.
Millennium,
Basically the Millennium Era.
Son of Godzilla. Maybe we don't know yet. We don't know if it's Son of Godzilla or if it's actually Godzilla.
A lot of people still think it's the Son of Godzilla. He does look different now because he has the bigger spikes on
Uh-huh.
his back. So that's when it's considered it's more powerful because the bigger the spike.
So, anyways, you have a essentially a job character
Yeah.
that just gets thrown in to recycle the thing. Now, Godzilla versus Megalurus, whatever. We get into giant monsters all-out attack, which personally, in my opinion, is probably one of the best Godzilla movies.
Don't say which ones you like the most.
And again, that's when they change again.
We'll move on to that. But
But you want to talk about this one?
yeah. But
this-
just go through it. Like let's say right now we're just talking about, like all the movies, right?
Yeah, we're just going.
Well, this is what I'm saying. All Giant Monster Attack has some of the most beautiful visual scenes. They have some of the. It made sense.
I think this era has one of the best visuals.
It
Oh, it
actually does.
It mixed some CGI sometimes with practical effects. And I
And-
think it's the best for me, the era. But we'll talk about it.
And it's the return to the campiness of the
And that-
human stories,
Yeah, and that's when we get again
the
the
aliens.
Tyrannosaurus Godzilla.
Yeah,
Well,
we get Tyrannosaurus Godzilla.
This is where they start bringing to the EDF, the Earth Defense Force.
Absolutely. So then we get into Mega Godzilla and we get into Tokyo SOS. So Tokyo SOS is one of those movies that
Well, Tokyo SOS is fucking Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla.
yes,
It's the second one.
and Kairu.
But
Yes.
it's kind of like it's almost kind of like a fucking a rematch of that shit. But this time, Godzilla's not that overpowered. From
He's not.
from Mecha Godzilla. Mecha Godzilla was like way too fucking powerful.
And
Yeah,
essentially,
they had a bunch of guns to him. That's why.
Those are
the
fucking
millenn-
rockets and shit.
those were some of the baddest ass toys too. Everything that came out of the Millennium series were really awesome looking toys. Like that, the new version of Mega Godzilla, Kairu, you had Anguirus came out. So the Millennium series essentially led up to Final War.
Yeah.
Which was just an excuse for Godzilla to go back to his true form, which was to fuck everybody up. Now, if you want to watch Final Wars, it's one of the most stupidest, most racist of all the movies. Now, at this point, I hope you fucking put the clip of the pimp and the police officer in New York City. Like, fucking, this is an
Yeah,
actual
it's-
scene.
But
Yeah.
I don't think the Japanese, the way that they do things, because everybody sees this as like racist, but the Japanese love America so much that they do all this shit, because they do blackface and stuff, and they don't
still
see it
do
as
that,
racist.
They still do blackface.
But they
yes.
don't see it as racist. It's because they love fucking American,
Culture.
black American culture. Like, they fucking love that shit. There's this movie, what's it called? The Suicide Club, where all of these clubs come out. And there's the ones that dress like pimps, the ones that dress like black people. And everybody was like, what the fuck? They're like, well, we love America so much. Like, we're trying to show our love. They don't get it. It's not like
There
us.
is a lot of gaijin style. You know, you take the rockabilly scene. You have a lot of Japanese people who dress up like cholos.
But they overdo it.
Yeah,
Like they over, what's it called? Like
They fully embrace the lifestyle.
But everything looks like
It's
way
characterized.
overboard. Like it's more than like here.
It is more character.
You know.
So the Final Wars is probably the epitome of this situation where it's Godzilla at Godzilla's most perfect form. Like, he's literally playing fucking soccer with fucking with Anguirus. Like, you know, you have the two main characters that both have special powers, like Dragon Ball or like fight flying.
We'll talk
But-
about it later because this is one of my favorites.
It's one of your favorites.
Yes.
Well, I want you to get into it, please. We're just
No, because
we're just skipping into
I
it.
want to talk about our favorites right now.
Oh, okay.
No, we still have more to before we get to that.
No, that's why. But that's why I'm like saying like. Let's
And that's
keep
when
on.
we get another break from Godzilla from 04 and then until back to 2016. Now we're still talking about the Japanese one, which is now jumping all the way to 2016. We got the Reiwa. I don't know how to pronounce it. R-E-I.
Reiwa, which means
Reiwa
new generation, if I believe I'm correct. Please correct me.
I'll look for it later on. That's when we get now the Shin Godzilla.
Now, if you haven't seen Shin Godzilla,
Go watch it.
If you have not, if you do not know anything about Godzilla and haven't watched the new legendary ones, go watch Shin Godzilla.
It'll be a good way to get into Godzilla.
Absolutely.
Well, they said
Especially
that,
for nowadays.
they said that they made Shin Godzilla as an answer to the American Godzilla because the American Godzilla was gonna come out was announced, and then they were like, no, we're gonna do it like a real one. So they made Shin Godzilla.
So this Godzilla goes back to true to form.
Yep.
All the way back to 1954. It's a eminent disaster film.
It's a lot of talking.
Nobody can do anything about, but the talking is so rewarding. And this is back, going back to the original one, where the human story actually engages you. You actually care about these poor people that are stuck trying to fix this horrible problem with this monster he mutated.
I think though that in Shin Godzilla, the fucking humans talk so much to a fault because if you like, you guys all the campy shit, and then all of a sudden you go into this one, you're not gonna.
But I think in this one, because 1954 was obviously about the nuclear war, this Shin Godzilla was definitely about Fukushima.
Yeah.
Now, Fukushima was a terrible situation that's still happening. I'm not even fucking making this shit up.
Still have a bunch of shit going on.
So you have this creature that came out of the ground that's once again suffering. A creature who is not supposed to be of this earth.
You see it in this movie.
A tragic character.
A lot just by itself.
And they want to get rid of this creature because he's poisoning. He's essentially just fucking shooting blood and poison everywhere. And they want to kill him because you don't want something like, you can't have anything like that in this world. Now, Hideo Anno, the director of Evangelion, took the helm and is now supposed to be in charge of the second part 2. Now, Shin Godzilla ends on a very Evangelion-esque fucking ending, which is
Now this is the Godzilla with the longest fucking tail.
Has the longest tail, has the shortest arms, and looks like a creature from the Prozoic era.
And the fucking tail has like its own fan base now.
Yes,
it
exactly.
has a bunch of fucking theories like what's gonna happen to the tail because now they fucking look at everything with a microscope.
Yeah.
Because
we can pause and
they're going through every little speck how the tail would keep changing from the beginning of Godzilla coming out of the water till the end of the movie.
So, the tail itself, at the end of the movie, you have one small shot of it to look at this. There's whale bones, there's dinosaur bones, there's all types of creature bones.
There's a mouth, actually.
Absorbed into...
human mouth.
So, at the very end of it, are Godzilla human hybrids growing out of it. Now, once again, everybody's saying, is this going to be tied into Millennium? Is this a new creature? What's going on? Like, people are left in...
They're just left in limbo.
So the Godzilla series is on a very mysterious level that we don't know what's going to happen. The Toho franchise has so many doors to open. I'm glad to live in this area that we could live through a modern Godzilla and see something that's amazing, because that's one of the best stories, watching Godzilla. Anyways,
then we got the Planet of Monsters movies, which is on Netflix.
The Netflix ones, maybe the fucking art style is a little bit too strange,
but I like it.
But 1,000 years in the future, Godzilla takes over Earth. Human beings have to leave and come back. There's human beings that are human Godzilla hybrids.
Yeah.
That are the only way to survive this now.
But here's the thing, even the plants became hybrids.
Even the plants became hybrids, giant creatures everywhere.
Now,
so
the first one's Godzilla, Planet of the Monsters.
Planet of the Monsters. This is where you saw a baby Godzilla 80% of the time.
Yeah.
Up until the end when you see the Hulk.
The real Godzilla, the original one that came in and started fucking destroying.
So the original Godzilla is now 10,000 feet tall.
Yeah, it's no longer 300.
Yeah, he's an absolute unit. That boy thick, boy.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like these. A lot of people.
And I don't blame them. I personally don't like them. I think there was some cool Gundam moments, there was some cool, like very, flight simulator, old school Jaeger parts that could have been like badass, but they really did kind of fuck up Mechagodzilla.
It would have make it badass if it were more like a series.
Yeah,
Instead of just 3 movies.
exactly.
And yeah, Mechagodzilla does make an appearance. It's
Not-
they never show it.
It's not this one though.
No, they do show it like that, just the head.
It's Mechagodzilla.
But here's the thing: it's made with alien technology now, and it's also like what nanotech.
It's a mix of 3 different things,
yeah,
right?
it's going like into...
It became a sentient.
A sentient
throughout
monster.
the whole time that they're in space, the humans, when they come back, Mechagodzilla actually created its own city. It just became a sentient city.
Mhm.
So it is different.
Then King Ghidorah comes out in the 3rd one, and they do such a horrible disservice to
Which
poor
is known
King
as the
Ghidorah.
Planet Eater here.
The Planet Eater. It's just 3 little fucking
Well,
parasites
if we go back
that
to
come
the
out of the
Monster
ground.
Zero story, it is supposed to come from a different dimension,
Mhm.
from space. So that's why they do. That's why you have like 3 holes in
So
the
it's the-
fucking universe.
So it's the Space Gas Galactus.
That's
what it is.
It's perfect. He describes it perfectly. Now, this series ends on, once again, kind of a mysterious note, which most Godzillas tend to do.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the end, question mark. It's always like, oh, what's going to happen next? Nothing's going to happen next.
Yes.
Nothing's going to happen
It
next.
is the end.
This poor series missed the mark all across the board. They give them such free reign. I think it's interesting to see.
It's because I think that Netflix just fucking probably bought these. Like, I don't think they fucking produced them or anything. They probably just bought these. Like,
Well, it's
oh,
like
shit.
it's like the version of Berserk. Like Berserk got remade into 3 movies, and those movies were beautiful.
Yeah, but remember,
And
like,
they had to chop off 20 episodes into fucking
Yeah.
3 movies.
But remember, Netflix now is doing everything original, like Castlevania. Like everything's being paid for by Netflix. But before that, they were just buying properties so that they could have shit. So I'm thinking that they just bought these. They were already made, and then they just like here.
Now I'm not too sure of
get 'em
that,
there.
but I do kind of feel like they tried to make a series and they just got movie
Because
money.
It doesn't say anything like that.
I don't know. It's just I think Godzilla is not as huge in America as it is in Japan.
Okay, well now we go into the legendary
Here
series.
we go. It might be that way because it was originally released on November 17, 2017. It was in Japan.
Okay.
So that could have been that just Netflix bought rights since then and made it,
Yeah, I'm telling you.
and just made it first just for
I
there.
think that's what they do.
So, obviously, Godzilla is known across the world. If I go to Panama or I go to fucking Alaska and I say Godzilla, they're gonna know what I'm talking about. So, obviously, America wanted to come back. They wanted to make their own series. They wanted to do something big and bad, giant monster battle of all time, and we get the legendary series, right?
Well, if we get the first American versions, we have the Hollywood production rights. They were back in the 80s and it was just Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and King of the Monsters 3D, which, no, not everyone. But there were
Yeah.
Hollywood productions.
Yeah.
Then we followed with TriStar, which is 98.
The one we do not speak
Yeah.
of,
Also known as Zilla,
Zilla himself.
who gets killed with just the tail.
Yeah, he gets
But-
wrapped up in Final Wars.
He was called Godzilla, but Zilla, they put Zilla, the ones that put Zilla was,
Toho themselves.
yeah, well,
Toho themselves
So
retconned that
They
Godzilla.
basically just
Toho
degraded.
they didn't want, to associate with it.
Absolutely not. Fuck
He
that
completely
Godzilla.
changed everything.
Fuck Matthew Broderick.
I don't know, I fuck Matthew
I will
Broderick.
fuck Matthew Broderick and his wife for sure, dog.
Like,
They're
Voice
both
face.
gonna get it.
Matthew Broderick is not his fault. He fucking got casted and he fucking did a
He
job.
was probably the only one that.
It's
went
not
to
like
that
he was
casting.
like, I'm gonna fuck up Godzilla.
No, he's probably the only one who showed up for casting.
He was like, no.
Yeah, you're
We're
right.
like, well, we're just stuck with him.
We might as well put Matthew Broderick
No,
in.
come on, man. If it was 1998, if they would have come to you and you were like, dude, you want to be in a Godzilla movie? You would have been like, yes.
Well, yeah, fresh
Ah!
off of Inspector Gadget, of course I'm gonna fucking want to
Well,
be in
Inspector
a
Gadget was
Godzilla
like huge.
movie.
It was fucking
It
good.
was still.
No, even if you were a nobody and they came to you and you were like, you're gonna be in a
Matthew
Godzilla.
Broderick was in fucking, what do you call it? Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
He's the one.
That's an 80s classic.
Yeah, but he wasn't like, it's an 80s classic, but he wasn't like this, oh, he's an amazing actor or anything. Like, I think he was just like a regular shit. All those 80s fucking people didn't really become anything like huge.
Election.
Election was pretty good, but that's like it's considered kind of like an indie, like, well, that's like a classic, because not a lot of people know it. Like,
anyway, so these horrible 1998 movies really did a terrible disservice. I think just because
it was still the smallest Godzilla.
it was, I think just because there wasn't other monsters, you know. I think if they would have had another monster.
All I'm saying too is I don't. We keep fucking blaming the like actors and shit, and it's the fucking producer.
Hey, a good actor can save a horrible movie.
No, but a good monster too. That's fucking shit.
Take Lon Chaney, and he was put in these old films that had like no script, and he would literally rewrite the
so
script.
So you're telling me
Vincent Price
when
would
they
do the
grabbed
same
fucking
thing.
Godzilla and they said let's completely change them, let's make him female, like it's just fucking.
Well, he was asexual.
Yeah, he wasn't female, was asexual.
Hey, bro, Godzilla's not female. Nah, I'm kidding.
Nah, but that shit fucking sucked.
They did suck.
So it doesn't have. I don't care if it was fucking.
So you agree with us?
I don't care if it was like fucking Anthony Hopkins in the fucking movie.
Fuck, if I would have seen Anthony Hopkins in the
All I'm saying-
I would have cried, homie.
But all I'm saying is, don't blame the fucking actors. It's the fucking.
Nah, we'll blame
producer.
whoever the fuck we want.
And the script.
That's why we have the podcast.
Well, it's because that movie was such a obviously they were trying to reintroduce Godzilla to
the
American culture, and you didn't need to reintroduce Godzilla to the American culture.
Well, it wasn't needed, especially just make it out of morph iguana.
Yeah, a morph iguana that
That's
was
what it was.
part of the Canary Island situation. Now,
But then they get rid.
you actually start getting people who love Godzilla. Now, I don't know if you guys know Gareth Edwards or if you guys have seen Monsters, which is a kaiju story about a meteor that lands in Mexico, and now all of Mexico is contaminated with these weird monsters. Now, that's a really great film a la, what do you call it? Cloverfield.
Yeah.
Where it's just a person that's walking, and you feel bad for that character because they have to get out of this fucked up
And you're
situation.
trying to get away from it, and it's fucking impossible.
We, as Godzilla fans at least, said, okay, Gareth Edwards is going to take over the Godzilla helm. Good. Monsters was good. He respects the franchise. The
Cloverfield
first
sucks though.
Yeah.
2014 was really good, I think. And this is why. It's another one that follows the classic formula, where it takes about an hour to 2 hours for Godzilla to actually
Finally
appear.
show up.
When he appears, it's a big thing because you're like, fuck yeah, like this is a creature fight. And then it not only is it one bad guys, it's
We got
two
two.
bad guys. And they have a legit reason to be fighting Godzilla, which is for territory.
Well, and the fight is pretty good. The only thing that I don't like
And
about
we
the,
get the hot Olsen too.
The only thing that
That's
I don't
the nicest one.
the good looking one.
Yeah.
The only thing that I
The
don't
one
like-
that didn't kill Heath Ledger.
The only one that I don't like about this movie is that they fucking film all the fucking fight scenes and all that shit in the dark. Which is like one of my biggest fucking pet peeves with like, oh, let's not use all this CGI and let's hide it in darkness.
Okay, well, you're saying this right now. In the newest King of the Monsters Godzilla, I feel like half of that is in the dark as well.
Yeah, I have a problem with that. Like, I mean, yeah, it looks cool, you know, like these things, but there's a lot of, when they do, especially when there's close-ups, and it's fucking dark as shit, and you don't know what the fuck is happening.
But you take the old movies, and you got dumbass Godzilla like, me, and you're just like, bro. Like,
Yeah, but that's-
Yeah, they'll never find a sweet spot.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Now that they have the fucking CGI, we've seen, dude, come on, dude. We saw this model fucking from The Lord of the Rings, from The Hobbit, dude, and he's not in the fucking complete darkness, and it looks amazing, dude.
But he's the creature of ash and smoke.
Yeah, but he doesn't look like, it's not like in these two Godzilla movies, it's completely fucking dark. Like, dark, dude. You only see when they glow and shit, or when there's fire.
Now, getting into these new movies, I think the one thing I have as a negative about it is the human story. Now, every single fucking Godzilla, and I've been talking about this for the last few ones, you have a human story that's either going to be political, emotional, or it's just going to be complete campy fun. Now, in the original ones, they were always fighting aliens and helping Godzilla, and then all of a sudden, like, the aliens would turn into giant changos and fucking cockroaches, and it was fun. And then you had the other one that was, you know, Raymond Burr talking about the horrors of watching Tokyo getting burned down by a giant lizard. Okay, these new ones were like Bryan Cranston dying in the first 10 seconds of the movie.
20 minutes, bro.
It was like 10 seconds, he
He
died.
lasted a little bit longer.
So, you had the Olsen, one of the Olsen sister, you had
The
a
only good looking one.
military
They
background.
don't
And
look
then,
exactly the same.
Then we get Kick-Ass fucking looking like a fucking superhero.
Taylor,
Buff as fuck.
Yeah.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
so then we get into the second one, and they're trying to make this the G Defenders, the G Force. Right?
Well, wait. But,
In a way.
in the first one, a lot of people don't like that first one. A lot of like Godzilla purists, especially, don't fucking like that first one. They say that it's like
They start before.
Why? Because he's
before-
chunky.
no, I don't. I'm not saying they
That's
don't
what
like
started
Godzilla.
first. Like before the movie came out, and you were getting these trailers with just a small glimpse of Godzilla. They were already complaining about the legs.
Yeah.
No, but like I'm not talking about how he looks. I'm talking about they don't like the movie like as a whole. A lot of people.
So when it comes to the original, like the Toho, there's gonna be.
Well,
a
these
lot of
people.
fans are way
these people
into it
are
and they will
like-
defend it. If someone else does it besides Toho, they're not gonna like it.
No, well they're just saying that like just the way that like you said the fucking human characters they're like I don't give a shit. I want to see Godzilla. I want to see what's happening. This like whatever they could have done this. They say like they go a lot of different ways, and I'm like whatever. Like to me, I went to the movies. It was a cool fucking movie to see at the theater, especially. For the first time again, Godzilla: The Force of Nature, where the humans pretty much don't have control.
But he is a good guy.
No, yeah, but like
you have these scenes where it's like all these naval boats
But
next
here's
to Godzilla. It's like very patriotic.
But people
and very
don't know.
cool.
People don't know that he's a fucking good. Like, I mean, there's the Japanese character that's coming out there saying like, hey, like you guys have to be careful, whatever. All this shit. Nobody knows what the fuck is happening.
Who's also named Shirozawa.
There's some fucking scene, where fucking Aaron Taylor Johnson's like running, and then you see like fucking Godzilla's legs, like like fucking stomping and shit. So, I mean, it feels. To
But
me,
so you're telling me that part where this man does a fucking dead drop out of a fucking airplane and zooms right by Godzilla. I know that's like the darkest part, but to me that's one of the coolest scenes because it shows how massive.
You're telling that to me though,
It's
like
scale.
like I'm the one hating on it. I'm not. I'm telling you,
But you're just saying you don't like the dark part.
I don't like when they're fucking fighting and because they've said it, dude. That like, oh, we didn't have enough money, so we had to hide all this shit in darkness. And it's like, come on, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just.
But it's also a burned down city that's gonna be completely. I mean,
Everything's
fires
burned
and
out,
shit
gotta be
everywhere.
covered in ash.
Yeah,
It does make sense to have the fights in dark.
yeah.
in that
That's,
movie.
I personally think now we get into the King of the Monsters, which to me was a very big letdown. And I'm gonna just be very honest with you.
Oh!
For
He's
the
seen it like a billion times.
simple reason, and I love Godzilla. The simple reason.
No,
that
you don't, bro!
it's three different things. That you take the typical Godzilla formula, the human story, the disaster story, and ultimately either Godzilla is a good guy or Godzilla is a bad guy. Now, the human story, that fucking character from what was his name from Cabin in the Woods?
I don't know.
The fucking guy who's like he's making jokes and all that shit. He's supposed to.
Pothead?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know which one you mean.
But he's in fucking he's in King of the Monsters, right? So he's trying to be like this creepy, funny guy. You have Zhang Ziyi, who's more than likely one of the Mothra twins.
Yeah.
You have all these.
No, they are.
You have all these little tiny Easter eggs that, as a Godzilla fan, you're all about.
Yeah, you get all the Easter eggs that they could just put in there.
But then you get to the end, and you're left completely unsatisfied by a pretty badass fight. And then,
Yeah.
and it's a fucking badass fight with Rodan, Mothra, Godzilla, and King Ghidorah, and some of the best fucking visuals of the whole series up to this point. You could even say that it might be the best looking one of the whole entire 35.
Because you could
For
tell that
me,
they had
all
more
the
money.
monsters are the best looking ones, but
They had more
because we
money.
have the
They had more
technology.
money for this one.
But this is what I feel they really did fuck up on. If they were gonna say Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla should have come out and fought 20 fucking dudes in a giant Royal Rumble. Manda, the Behemoth.
Well, that's gonna come up now, because
No,
if
well,
you
the next
see like
one.
the ending of it, like when the credits are coming up, you know, have the small clips. You can tell that's gonna be when they introduce King Kong.
Well, the next one, yeah, is King Kong, but
Because there's a part of it. There's like a clip from a newspaper that says why are some monsters moving to Skull Island.
but they
So now
said,
you're gonna have another. Now it's called an apex predator. Challenge the new alpha.
but now they said they don't know if they're gonna go ahead with it.
Yeah, they're still going. Yes, no, yes, no.
No, I think it might not happen anymore because.
Hey, don't even say that.
Well, I wanted it to happen. No, it's because you keep fucking like I'm the one. Like, you know what? Cut the funding. Fuck this shit. No,
Oh man, it's been canceled.
no, I'm telling you because it made less money than the other one.
It did. You're right.